We are so excited today to be a part of the second round of communicating with Effective Leadership Academy. Our first round, we had Jake Hastings talking all about empowering your employees to feel their best, to engage in positive professional development. And today we have Heather Lee with us to talk more about Effective Leadership Academy and strategies for your school year success. Welcome, everyone, to our podcast. Today, we're sitting with partners in school nutrition, diving into actionable inspiration to provide you not only ideas, but strategies for success. I'm your host, Maureen Pisanick, and I'm thrilled to explore this topic with you and with some of our school nutrition friends. Hey, Heather, I'm so glad we get you this time. I love Jake. You know, I love Jake.
And we all love Jake.
We had a great conversation. But Heather, you're with Effective Leadership Academy. And dare I say, we're like sisters in this work now together in professional development. Yes. I love to drive in my food lane. You love to drive in your empowerment and education lane. But what we have in close common is, first of all, we're both mother bears, so we're momming hard these days. So we're this work-life balance thing. We don't only talk about how to inspire our professional groups we work with. We live it day to day, right? So
100%.
We're back in it for a new school year, right? And so you've got your littles, I've got my littles, and we're raring to go both professionally and personally. And one of the things I love about Pisanick Partners and finding this sisterhood, this match, if you will, we love to teach folks how to cook, and you love to tell them it's possible. Right? So we have cooking and conversation, we have Innovation Academy, we have different professional developments that we've done together because we love to teach people the nuts and bolts about what happens in schools. And you love to say, okay, that was a lot. Whoa, Maureen, but we'll help you feel good about it, which is it's a yin to my yang. You're like, this is like this great perspective. So let's talk about this. We get so many, the beginning of a new school year, there's dietary guidelines. There's new staff, maybe staff turnover. There's, this person's retiring this year. How are we ever going to fill those shoes? There's this anxiety around just the idea of starting into a new school year with enough energy to sustain us August through June again, right? So talk a little bit about how Effective Leadership Academy is there to help people in that process.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for having us again. We love the partnership with Pisanick. What you do is amazing, and we come in and it is that yin yang. So in terms of our programming, our professional development, it allows you that time for yourself. Like you said, we're moms. Most people are working, they're caregivers. They may even have additional jobs in their lives. Life moves fast, and there's so many rapid changes happening on top of that within society. So it creates a lot of stress. And how often do we really step back and allow ourselves that time to focus on us? And that's what I love about professional development. It gives you that moment to focus on yourself and that self-growth, which is a journey that we're on the rest of our lives. So having that time to allow yourself to rejuvenate, to find that inner peace when you're feeling the anxiety. We focus a lot on helping teams come together. There's a lot of changes that tend to happen. So I always say during our professional development, you laugh a lot and learn a lot. And it really helps you bring together your team. And that team forming is so critical to help you overcome those, bumpiness, the stress. We all know it's a roller coaster ride at times. Sometimes teams are understaffed. Sometimes there's new people. People might be out on leave. And so being able to come together, reform as a team when you have new team members, have some fun together and gain some of those skills. So focusing on, we have a whole wellness series, which includes mindfulness. We do a lot around work-life balance and how do you find that somewhat mythical balance. How do you sometimes achieve success when you're unbalanced? Because that's a reality at times for us. Looking at, the power of positivity, sometimes reconnecting back with our why. Why did we get into this field? We, like you said, we're mama bears. We have a passion for the work we do, a passion for education. So does anyone who's working in a school. They bring that passion, but sometimes when you carry your heart on your sleeve, it's easy to burn out.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're pouring everything into what you do. So we help people reconnect with themselves, their why, re-energize. And then sometimes there's certain areas where a team that we talk to has a need. So there might be a breakdown in trust or in communication. We find a lot of people care about each other, but don't necessarily know how to connect in that we all have different personality types. So being able to understand how you, Maureen, communicate versus how I communicate and how can we communicate together without that friction.
It's so funny you should say that because I will use our company as an example. We hired ELA to do one of our team retreats. And I remember it was first of all, the one thing that I love about your professional development personally is you're not just sitting there looking at PowerPoint slides. You're getting up, you're moving, you're engaging, you're laughing. It's very interactive. And so like, that's a plug because, I hate, even on our days, like when we have to do something to retreat as a team Pisanick to fill our buckets to be the best version of ourselves. It was one of those aha moments for me. And it was at a time where we've had some staff turnover. And I remember it was right before that staff turnover happened. And we were all talking about going on what side of the balance we were. And I, as a business owner and as a leader of a small group of professionals, had no idea most of my team was on the right, and here was this poor person over here on the left, and her balance was off. And so I love these ideas as we're talking at this podcast to people that might be supervising others and being able to take those vulnerable looks at yourself as a leader and how you need to be a part of the learning opportunities on professional development days. I know I told you this, like I used to do PD days for my staff and I'd stand up there and charge and say, hey, we're going to do this. And I have this idea and this is our strategy and I'll be the whiteboard. But I actually sit down and take and participate in Effective Leadership Academy strategies for my team because everybody's learning. It levels that whole humanity piece of we're all here together. You never know what somebody's struggling with. And oftentimes they might not come to you as their supervisor and say, hey, I'm really struggling with this. But doing these types of interactive things, being vulnerable, putting yourself at the table with your team, not standing in front of them, speaking at them for professional development days. So one of the things we share with our people is, you might have had professional development days where you put together the content and you deliver the content. And I'm sure it was great. Why don't you think differently this year about professional development and be a student with your team and see what changes, see how that level sets. And you did that for us. So first of all, thank you. I don't know if I ever thanked you for that. That and that video you played that made me cry. You guys have great content. Besides getting us up out of the chair, those inspirational videos, just to really remember the why. That's for me. Like I say in school nutrition, if you can rediscover your purpose and your why, it makes that more of a love language of food and supporting the cafeteria team and the students, not just a job, not just making food. It is nourishing, right? It's a different mindset. It's a different way. When I can get back to that why, boy, I'll make anything happen, So I just love that about that. When you think about training teams, you made something, what type of workshops? You said you target certain things. What do you think, knowing what you know about Pisanick and school nutrition and school environments? Because school nutrition is one part of a stakeholder. Like you said, you have this whole wellness area. The wellness committees are things that they need to have meetings every year. So there are lots of opportunities to look at different focal points. What do you think are some great advantages that ELA can bring to that discussion to help focus folks on what do we do next for our PD? What could we do?
Sure. One, thank you for that plug. We had so much fun with your team. And I think there is power in being able to step back and see it happening versus leading it. You're learning too. Even when I'm facilitating, I'm learning from the teams that I work with. There's so many aha moments that happen in the professional development where you're like, oh, just the way someone says something, hearing it differently. Within our professional development, it is all customized. So we really take the time to listen. What are your pain points? What are your needs? How can we help contribute and partner in your goal for success? How do we help take you to that next level? These are amazing teams of people, but sometimes we kind of have those horse blinders on. We're so in the moment and go, 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 that when you have that time to step back, talk with someone else who can then take the driver's seat for a moment and allow you to be a passenger and enjoy that ride with your team. There's a lot of value in that. And even at ELA, we bring in other people to bring our team together. You know, we walk the walk in terms of the culture, the professional growth. Even though we teach this every day, we have to make sure we're pausing and taking the time to reform, to reconnect when we're stressed and things are happening, to lean on each other for support and bring in other people who can help us take the time to fill that bucket, because there is so much value in having another voice at the table, and just hearing it differently. We need to hear things a minimum of 8 times for it to really stick. So hearing it from different people in different ways, it really helps build that connection and understanding. But yes, with the teams, we've worked with teams as small as sometimes 3 or 4, up to teams as big as 150, where we're all together in a huge gymnasium. And it is laughing and learning, but being vulnerable. There are a lot of powerful moments that come out. We really focus on making it a safe space so that people can be vulnerable, whether it's being vulnerable just with yourself and not sharing that necessarily, or if you're comfortable enough to share out. But when you're vulnerable with yourself, it allows you to grow. You know, you have to step outside that comfort zone. And a lot of times having someone else come in to facilitate is what pushes people outside of that comfort zone to grow.
Oh, I love that. So I worked in my previous life, when I worked clinically, I worked with a child psychologist, and she would go to her own sessions and have mental health discussions about her own life and herself, so she could be a better mental health provider. And I remember that. I was very young, coming out of college, you know, stressed, like you said, you never know where people are coming from. First time mom, all the, you know, the whole 9 yards. And one of the things that she taught me and modeled for me, that it was okay to be vulnerable and to need help too. Like you don't always have to be the one that has all the answers or that is the one in charge. And so as supervisors listen to this, you know, I loved that for me personally, to be able to sit with my team. And I think when you look at professional development, so on the microcosm level, so we support a lot of school nutrition folk, and they have their own PD days. I think those many times and opportunities to have you in for an hour, that's great. But I also love the idea of what I see Effective Leadership Academy doing as a school community, where you might have each of those departments that are the support departments with the teachers and the administrators, and collectively in that gym, the energy of getting, number one, to know each other. How many times do you work in a school building and, you know, you should be familiar with who your custodial and head cook are, but, you know, it gives folks a name, a face, and a collective community feel where they get to know each other a little bit better. You know what I mean? The idea of like, we are all every day, they spend more time oftentimes in the school day with the school family than they do with their own family.
Correct.
So really starting to think about building those opportunities to make those personal connections. I love that Effective Leadership Academy has program as little or as large as we want to make it. You know, the individual department, the whole community. Folks can look at your website. Where do they find you? How can they contact you? Because I'm excited, and I hope many people are hearing this going, you know what? I have 3 PD days and I was looking for a good one. Because, you know, you guys do have a small but mighty team, so they need to get on your books for this year.
That is true. We're already scheduling into September with groups. So in terms of our website, it's effectivela.org. If you just search Effective Leadership Academy, you'll find us. We do have a whole professional development webpage, because we do professional development for schools, educators, but also a lot of businesses have those same needs that you're describing. So a lot of details on there that includes topics. A lot of people say, we know we need something, but we're not sure what it is. And I can sit and dissect what they're saying and pick through and ask questions to get to what is that underlying need. And then that's where we customize for them. Sometimes it's an hour of just fun team building to bring people together with excitement and energy to kick off the school year. Sometimes it's a deeper dive where it's several half-day sessions of really getting into some underlying issues and helping to rebuild that trust or reconnect. And I think in education and in leadership, people who are in leadership roles, teachers, educators, nutritional team, all people who are working within education, it can feel like you're in a silo at times. And having the ability to come together is so powerful. We did a professional development with a district, their entire district. So it was 600 people. It was not all at once, but it was bringing together some of the teachers with the admin. We had bus drivers. We had our nutritional, team members who were joining in from food services. And there was such a bonding. And I think you want to be comfortable at work. You want to have fun at work. You care about the students so much. You want to build in that caring about each other. It makes coming to work so much more fun. And like you said, we spend a majority of our waking hours with our colleagues and in our roles.
You just inspired me. So I'm gonna give our teams a call to action. I think, in a society where things change and we don't often give each other grace in some ways, I think building trust and being able to hold each other in a space of trust, build successful strategies in teams that end up being innovative. Like we talk about our Innovation Academy and food innovation and, training innovation. You got to start with trust. If you don't trust who you work with or the process or the mission. So I'm going to call to action, everybody. Look up that website and look up some training on leadership and trust building, because I do feel like it almost reminds me of like that old Girl Scout camp where you do the trust fall, like you got to trust fall. So you got to fall into somebody's arms and realize they're going to catch you when you're having a bad day. And I always feel that way after I have a conversation with you or anyone from your team, that, we trust that you care about the work we do. You're going to listen to what we're asking you to support us with, and you show up in big ways to help inspire people. And, our goal is wholesome meals to fuel healthy lives. And I know our passion is we all can be better together and be surrounding a purpose, our why, and envision a school year that's not going to feel like work. It's going to feel like a great big hug, right? And so that's what I love about the opportunity to always have time to sit down with Effective Leadership Academy and certainly work in ways collaboratively. So we look forward to this school year for that reason and many, many other reasons.
It's so much fun. And it's funny, a lot of people come in and we're not going to do trust falls, are we? We don't do trust falls, but we have a lot of fun and you are up out of your seats. I was an educator for 10 years. I was in nonprofit work before I met ELA. And this is that missing ingredient, when you look at the difficulties of working with others or managing people, or you're feeling depleted. So when I was introduced to ELA, it clicked. I was instantly drawn in because I've sat through so many boring professional developments. I've been on that end of feeling deflated, feeling overwhelmed, forgetting my why in the midst of life happening so fast. And so every day I get to love what I do because I am out there having fun, but seeing the impact, the stories that we hear, the moments that we see happening within teams, the laughter, it helps fill my bucket. And is the why of what I do.
I love it. Well, we always end our show with one question, and that is, of course, food related, because we are a NutriSmart focused on lunch and all things food. What was your favorite school lunch when you had a time to be?
Oh, it's funny. I was thinking about school lunch coming in, and I think, when I was little, the excitement of, so my dad always packed his lunch and my lunch at the same time. So when I was little, it was the excitement of the new lunch box to go to school. And then once I hit middle school and high school, it was, the school lunches are looking kind of good, and the excitement of being able to buy. So our favorite was Mexican pizza day.
Okay.
But then in high school, we had a salad bar.
Okay.
And just you felt so grown up to move into, high school cafeteria, and I can go up to the salad bar and make my own salad. I felt so sophisticated.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Well, pizza is always high on the answer, but I love that you brought the produce bar up and the feeling that it, because food is not just about the nutrition. It's about how it makes us feel.
Yes.
And so we love that school took the time to put a beautiful produce bar in front of you and empower you and make you feel better about your lunch experience.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure today, Heather. Thank you. And I wish you the best year ahead for all of your professional development. And I hope our elbows are rubbing together for many of them, because
100%.
I know they will be awesome. Thank you so much.
We love partnering with you. Thank you for having us. And we've been working with a lot of food services across different districts. So we look forward to working with some more.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.